From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I'm Steve Prentice. Australia warns of BadCandy attacks exploiting Cisco iOS XE. The Australian Signals Directorate ASD is warning of cyber attacks targeting unpatched Cisco iOS XE devices within Australia as a result of a previously undocumented implant called BadCandy. These attacks exploit a CVE-numbered flaw with a CVSS score of 10, and which allows unauthenticated attackers to create an account with elevated privileges. BadCandy is described as, quote, a low-equity Lua-based web shell, end quote. It lacks a persistence mechanism, which means it cannot survive across system reboots. But if a device remains unpatched and exposed to the internet, quote, it's possible for the threat actor to reintroduce the malware and regain access to it, end quote. Chinese hackers exploit Cisco ASA firewalls used by governments worldwide. According to experts at Palo Alto Network's Unit 42, hackers from China-based Storm 1849 are, quote, scanning for and exploiting a popular line of Cisco firewalls used by governments in the US, Europe, and Asia, end quote. The group is targeting Cisco Adaptive Security Appliances, ASA, which, in addition to acting as firewalls, also prevent some intrusions, handle spam, conduct antivirus checks, and more. The researchers observed several U.S. financial institutions, defense contractors, and military organizations attacked in this way throughout October. OpenAI's Aardvark GPT-5 agent finds and fixes code flaws automatically. This autonomous agent, currently available in private beta, works by, quote, embedding itself into the software development pipeline, monitoring commits and changes to code bases, detecting security issues and how they might be exploited, and proposing fixes to address them using LLM-based reasoning and tool use, end quote. In their announcement, OpenAI also added that Aardvark, quote, analyzes a project's codebase to produce a threat model that it thinks best represents its security objectives and design. With this contextual foundation, the agent then scans its history to identify existing issues, as well as detect new ones by scrutinizing incoming changes to the repository, end quote. FCC plans vote to remove cyber regulations installed after theft of presidential information from telecoms. This past week, the Federal Communications Commission announced plans to remove some cybersecurity regulations that had been put in place after Chinese hackers breached at least 9 telecommunications giants to steal the correspondence of the president and vice president last year. Chairman Brendan Carr released a statement that said, quote, the agency would reverse a declaratory ruling published in January which would have mandated telecoms to better secure their networks and submit annual certifications attesting to the creation of a cybersecurity risk management plan, end quote. On Thursday, FCC Secretary Marlene Dortch added more context, saying, quote, telecoms have already taken voluntary steps to secure their networks and that the ruling was legally erroneous, end quote. Huge thanks to our sponsor, ThreatLocker. Imagine having the power to decide exactly what runs in your IT environment and blocking everything else by default. That's what ThreatLocker delivers. As a zero-trust endpoint protection platform, ThreatLocker fills the gaps traditional solutions leave behind, giving your business stronger security and control. Don't just react to threats, stop them with ThreatLocker. CISA and NSA share tips on securing Microsoft Exchange servers. More than a dozen key security recommendations for network defenders were shared between the agencies and their partners. These included, quote, keeping servers up to date, migrating from unsupported Exchange versions, enabling emergency mitigation services, activating built-in anti-spam and anti-malware features, restricting administrative access to authorized workstations, and implementing security baselines for both Exchange Server and Windows systems. The agencies also made recommendations around strengthening authentication by enabling MFA, leveraging OAuth 2.0, and many other procedures. The agencies also advised network defenders to, quote, decommission end-of-life on-premises or hybrid Exchange servers after transitioning to Microsoft 365, end quote. Ukrainian extradited to US over Conti ransomware. Oleksiy Litvinenko, 43, was extradited from Cork, Ireland, to face charges of deploying Conti ransomware that extorted over $500,000 from U.S. victims between 2020 and June 2022. Court filings allege that Litvinenko managed stolen Conti victim data and ransom notes. Acting Assistant Attorney General Matthew R. Galliotti of the Justice Department's Criminal Division said Litvinenko's activities, quote, defrauded victims in almost every U.S. state and from over 24 countries worldwide. He now faces up to 25 years in prison. Another surge of NFC relay malware steals Europeans' credit cards. Related to a story we covered in June, mobile security firm Zimperium says near-field communication NFC relay malware has, quote, grown massively popular in Eastern Europe, with researchers discovering over 760 malicious Android apps using the technique to steal people's payment card information over the past few months, end quote. NFC malware takes advantage of Android's host card emulation, HCE, to emulate or steal contactless credit cards and payment data. The technique was first spotted in the wild in Poland in 2023, and this was followed by campaigns in the Czech Republic and later more massive attack waves in Russia. Rysida pwns users with Microsoft Teams ads. According to Aaron Walton of Expel, the prolific ransomware gang is, quote, leveraging malicious advertisements to deliver Oyster Loader malware, also known as Broomstick and Cleanup Loader, and this campaign began in June and is continuing. It is being done by purchasing search engine ads, in this case in Bing, and driving people to spoofed, typo-squatted sites. To ensure a lower detection rate by antivirus engines when victims click on the links, Rysida employs a packing tool to hide the malware's capabilities. Remember, if you're in the Big Apple, you can join us on November 5th at FairCon 25 for a live recording of the CISO Series podcast. If you've never attended one of our live shows, you get the same great discussions we feature on every episode, plus fun games and a lightning Q&A. You need to register for the event, but we've got a 75% off registration code for our listeners. Just head on over to the events page at cisoseries.com for more details. Do you want to know more about the most pressing stories of the last few days in time for your weekly stand-up? Join us today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the Department of No, where our guests will sort out the priority stories and do a deep dive on the ones that matter the most. And of course, we will actively involve you in the conversation. Just go to YouTube, search for CISO Series, and look for Rich Struffolino's smiling face under upcoming live streams. And finally, if you have some thoughts on the news from today or about this show in general, please be sure to reach out to us at feedback@cisoseries.com. We would love to hear from you. I'm Steve Prentice, reporting for the CISO Series.
Cybersecurity headlines are available every weekday. Head to CISOseries.com for the full stories behind the headlines.